What's the worst fitness marketing mistake that you can make? I'm going to list a few for you. Which one stands out the most for you? And before I do this, I want you to know there is no judgment here because many of the ones that I'm going to include are probably mistakes that I've made somewhere along the way. I'm Deborah Atkinson. You're listening to the Voice for Fitness Professionals podcast, where I share marketing and sales strategies so you can create a fitness business and a life that you love. And during COVID, the world needs you, health, wellness, and fitness more than they ever have. We just need to get more creative and more problem solving mentality and mindset than we've ever had before. This episode is brought to us by the Flipping 50 Specialist. It's the first and the only certificate program designed not only to give you continuing educations, to do what you probably are already doing, as we all are working with midlife women who want help, who know they have a challenge and a problem and they want answers. This is the difference between hormone balancing exercise and exercise that's from conventional and traditional exercise prescription, and even that including functional. It makes them better, not just tired. So if you're struggling to help your women lose weight, lose the belly fat, lose the cellulite, lose the brain fog and the fatigue, and keep it off without getting them even more exhausted or injured, or chronically canceling because they don't feel good, then you're going to want to check this out. You can find out more at fitnessmarketingmastery.com/programs, and I'll put that link in the show notes because now you need to pay attention. Here we go. What are those mistakes that are most commonly made? Number one, putting your credentials and your degrees up front and center, making your website all about you. Like we have, or I am, right? It doesn't really matter. And in the whole scheme of things, what's been true about where your education, your certification, and your degree comes in for a customer in their decision to work with you is number 4. So many other things come first that they've probably already signed on the dotted line in a lot of cases before they even know what your education is. Truth. So what happens is you waste space. I'll call it real estate if it's actually on your website, but you waste space where you could actually make something about the customer that's going to draw them in, or tell a story about yourself or clients you've worked with that will make a potential customer say, this is like me. This sounds like me. I could be actually the person she's talking about. Or they're so vested in wanting to know the end of the story that they'll continue to listen. Next mistake is showing up shirtless or, say, in a jog bra to appeal to overweight women, to women who feel like that's so far from where they are right now that you're actually making them uncomfortable by looking that way yourself, by wearing tight, what we used to call baby gap t-shirts in the boys, where if they could show every bicep and tendon, it's really not a way to appeal to the masses. What it does is helps you portray the stereotypical muscle head to a market who is very likely your next best customer right now who can afford you but doesn't want that. So pay attention to who you're appealing to. Make sure that, yes, you probably should be a little bit more, 5 to 10% more fit than them. However, not necessarily be revealing it or needing to show that. It should be obvious in the way your eyes are bright, your skin is clear, your energy is high, your optimism is obvious. Those things don't need anything else to talk for them. So if you guessed either of those were the worst, though they're really great contenders, you're still missing it. Copycat marketing is the worst fitness marketing mistake you can make. So if you've heard and believe plagiarism is the greatest form of flattery, you maybe haven't heard that plagiarism, when it comes to marketing, in other words, copycat marketing, will be a fast track to failure. So what do you do instead? Because clearly we all want to watch brands who are doing a good job of marketing. And let's clarify that we don't always know a good job on the outside is a good job financially and internally in any business. Having a popularity contest and winning that does not mean you're making money. So if you have a small following, maybe your Instagram account has very few followers, but they are buyers, you are far better off than somebody who has even tried to play that game of buying fans and followers, which usually ends up backfiring on you anyway. But you can have hundreds and thousands of followers and either not be ever asking them to do anything with you, not take the next step and not making an offer, or they simply aren't buyers because they really aren't your market. They're not your ideal customer. So here's what to do instead. First, you've got to ask if what you say is something anybody else could say. With a different pair of eyes or glasses on, try to go and look through your website, look at your homepage, look at the next obvious page someone will click to, and keep reading. Is there any copy on those pages that any other fitness business or fitness expert could say? Does it fall into the, well, I should hope so category, meaning that of course should be what someone would call a no-brainer as far as your service goes? Are you stating the obvious? You shouldn't have to say it. It should be an expectation your customers have, naturally wouldn't even seek you out if they didn't already believe that was a part of the service. For instance, if you're saying about personal training and you're saying things like it's one-on-one private training, really haven't you just said the same thing 3 different times? So what else is unique about you doing it? Because the fitness center around the corner and down the block and across the street and across town all can say the exact same thing. We offer personal training, one-on-one, private, customized training. What's unique about you? So you probably haven't been terribly distinct in your marketing if anyone else could say it. You should be able to answer these questions. This will help you figure out what is unique and distinct about you. And I will tell you this, that you and I are really terrible at determining what we're distinct and unique doing, or the method, the way we do it is unique. But somebody else can see it better. So you may want to do a little bit of this homework, but you may also want to go to somebody else. Your customers are a good resource, and if you ask them the right questions. So here are these questions. You should be able to answer these. Number 1, what's your delight factor? Pretty easy, right? You understand that question. What's your delight factor? And imagine that the word delight is all caps. Number 2, what makes you the absolute? Not only do I want you for my personal trainer, but I don't want anyone but you. What makes that true? Number 3, what is it about you that no one else can say? Number 4, what is it about your system or your method that no one else can say? You want to base what you say in your marketing. And marketing, by the way, is everywhere. It's everything you say when you're standing in line at the grocery store, the bank. It's everything that you would say in a video. It's everything that you would write on your website, everything that you would put on your business card or a flyer. You want to base what you say in your marketing on 5 things: your background, your interests, your values, your methods, and on your customers. I've been talking about this really all month long in this streak of July 2020 and for decades before that. And I'll be talking about it for decades more. That thing that makes you unique is probably a part of the niche that you've chosen, and it should be something that you will never tire of. You don't ever want to get tired or fatigued talking about the thing that you do best. You love it, and you could go on and on about it. You get lit up and energy fills your voice when you're talking about it. That is a part of what makes you unique and distinct. You don't want to be like others. You want to be distinct or you'll be extinct. You can write that one down. There are too many trainers. You might want to ask before ever having the consultations that you do or schedule. Ask this: something got you here to me right now. What was that? And what you're looking for is not just the piece about them. You want to ask this question because it tells you, what was it about your marketing or word of mouth that somebody else relayed that got them there? What is it that they believe about you to be true before you even start talking? That's what you're getting. So in your consultations, you may start the opposite way. A lot of times we're also looking for why now? Why are you here now? What is it that you want? And we're digging for the transformation they want. We're digging for why right now is the perfect time for them to get started. And we're going to use that with them later to remind them of their commitment to themselves and get them to take action. But in this case, before you have those consultations, I want you to get some insight into what makes you distinct from the eyes of somebody else. So they've landed here because of something. So, if you just happen to be the lucky trainer who is doing the consultation and they didn't actually book a session with you, this won't work. So I'm talking about an instance when somebody literally asked for you and they want a first consultation or they have to ask questions, but it has to be you. You want to ask them, what is it? What was it about me that attracted you and made you want to take this first step? Get some feedback here because this is valuable insight to how you'll use that information to set yourself apart. So if somebody else says it, we tend to believe it a little bit more than if we say it ourselves. From that, you'll potentially find out if there are any distinguishing features about you already in existence out there. And then go back and look at all the little pieces that I mentioned earlier. Your background, and by that, I don't just mean your certification and your degrees and what you've learned or read, but I also mean, were you ever thrown from a horse? Is that the reason you've become an expert in core exercise and back pain prevention? Is there something else that happened to you? Did a loved one have cancer and suffer? And is that why you're doing the thing that you're doing right now? What about your interests? Somehow your affinity for art and painting or drawing or color may come out in what it is you do. Maybe it comes out in the way that you dress and your energy and the way that you've painted your facilities. But any little thing that makes you unique, you want to capitalize on that. So go through all of those things. I listed them again, and I'll list them for you here. Your background, your interests, your values, your methods, and your customers. So know who they are. And there you have it. You don't want to stand out, or you do want to stand out. You don't want to copycat. You don't want to be anybody else. You can look to somebody else who's doing marketing really successfully and look to them for cues in success, but you don't want to copy them because you're not them. And your customers, the exact ones you want to attract, are also not the same as the ones they are probably attracting. I'd love to hear your comments, and I'd love, love, love it if you've figured out what it is that makes you unique and distinct. And if you can put that into words, add it below the show notes, and we'll celebrate you breaking that mold of copycat marketing and being unique and distinct so people will remember you. What are you waiting for? People need the unique you right now, more than ever.